Hey, what's going on, sports cars fans? Ray from Philly here, and welcome to my 2022 Bbwaa Hall of Fame ballot and discussion. There's 30 players on the ballot, but I'm not going over all 30 players it is. Basically, what I'm doing is just doing the upward trends and downward trends of the players that have been on the ballot. So we're first going to start off with the players right now that have been showing an upward trend. We're starting off with Abreu, who in 2020 had 6.9%. In 21 went 9.9%. This year he's at 11.3. So he's upticking a little bit. He's doing okay, even though that this year's could drop because history has shown players usually drop 5 to 10%. So we'll see what's going to happen with Abreu. But as of right now, he's trending upwards. Barry Bonds is on his 10th and final year. In 13, he had 45.6%. In 14, he went down at 41.1. In 15, he dropped again to 39.3. And I thought that was the end of that. But in 16, he made a comeback at 45.3. 17 really came back at 60.2. So when everyone was expecting in 18 to see a much bigger uptick, but he only went to 61.3. In 19, another small uptick to 62.2. Last year, 64.1 or 20, 64.1. Last year at 65.8. So it's been like 1% a year. Right now, he's at 77.4%. So he is trending upwards. But my guess is that he'll finish somewhere at around 68, 69% and fall off of this ballot and move on to the errors committee, which is later on this year. Another player trending upwards as of right now is Roger Clemens. He's in his 10th and final year, 2013, 44.2%. He dropped to 39.1, went up to 39.3, went up to 46. 2017 went way up to 59.9. And in 18, 61.3, and 19, 62.2. And then just like Bonds, going up maybe 1% a year. In 20, went 63.8, 21, 65.2. Right now, he's at 76.3, so he is trending upwards. But my guess, just like Bonds, he's going to finish at around 68 or 69%. Here's a player that's trending nicely, and that's Todd Helton. He's in his fourth year. In 2019, he was at 16.2%. In 20, nice uptick at 31.4. Last year went way up to 45.9, and right now is at 57.6. So even if he drops about 5%, he's still above last year. He is trending upward. I could see in another 2 years him getting in. Same story for Andruw Jones as in Todd Helton, except for Helton's Jones is in his fifth year. Jones had 5.7% in his first year, barely made it. And 19 got 8.1%. And 20 had a nice uptick at 20.4. That's when you saw the value of his rookie cards go up. 2021 had 36%. 2022 this year right now is at 49.2%. I see him finishing probably at around 44% this year, which is still above last year. I give him probably another 2 years before he gets in. Scott Rolen is having a huge uptick. He's in his fifth year, 2018, 11.9, 2019, 18.8, 2020 had a big uptick at 39.8. That's when his rookie cards went up. Last year went a huge uptick at 57.1, and this year is at 70.1. I think he'll drop a little bit of that to maybe around 64%, but still that's a big increase from the year before. I also give Rolen another 2 years, exactly like Helton and Jones. Sheffield is in his eighth year. His first 5 years really didn't do much, hovered around the 10 to 13%. In 20 went up finally to 32.6. Last year, 43.2. This year, he's only at 46.3. In my opinion, if I think he has any shot to get in, next year it is his ninth year. I think he's going to have to reach that 60, 65% plateau, and then in his 10th year have a shot to get in. My opinion is I don't think so. I think he'll be moving to the errors committee. Billy Wagner is in his seventh year. He hovered around 10% from 2016 to 19, but in 20 went up to 33.2. Last year went up really big to 46.8, but so far this year has only had a small uptick to 48.8. I think Wagner next year in his 8th year is going to have to show a big uptick to go to around 60-65% in order for me to think he has a shot to get in before his 10 years is up. Jeff Kent, here's a player now is on the downward trend. From 14 to 18, hovered around the 14 to 15% range. As you can see, in 19, went up a little bit to 18.2. In 20, had his best year of 29%. Last year, went to 32.1. I thought this year he would, in his 9th year, would get somewhere around 50-55%, but he's actually gone down this year to 31. I think next year in his 10th year, he'll probably have a last year jump to go to like 45-50%, and that's it. So you're looking at Jeff Kent, in my opinion, moving on to the errors committee. Curt Schilling is trending downwards, and for obvious reasons. From 13, he had 43%, then went down in 14 to 35.4, went up in 15 to 45.6, went up in 16 to 58.5, dropped for some reason in 17 to 50.3. In 18, went up to 57.5, and then you saw huge upticks in 19 and 20, where he went to 64.7% and then 73.7. Everybody thought in 21 was going to be his year. He dropped almost 1% to 72.4. And then for obvious reasons, this year in his final year is at 61. You're looking at errors committee for Mr. Schilling. And last but not least on the downward trend, Omar Vizquel, for obvious reasons. He was doing nicely in his first year in 18, got 35%. And players usually, when their first year have gotten 30% or higher, usually have done well and gotten in. His second year went up to 43. His third year went way up to 52.7. Last year dropped to 45. This year is all the way down to 11.3. Wouldn't be surprised if he even gets bumped off to 5%. I don't know what the future is in store for Omar Vizquel. Maybe the errors committee. Don't know. So, with that in mind, my only prediction for the ballot, I mean, there's a lot of first-year players on there. I wouldn't be surprised if nobody gets in right now leading the way. And let's see if we can share a screen here. Let's go to this. Okay, and currently, as you can see, leading the way is David Ortiz at 83.6%. The only one that I think that has a shot this year is David Ortiz, but history has shown players on the day of the election, because this count right now, there's 167 ballots posted. Usually the day of the election, players drop 5, even 10%. So if Ortiz drops 5%, that's around 78, he gets in. Right now, I say it's a 50-50 chance that he gets to 75% on Tuesday. I'm going to say yes, he barely gets it at around 75.5, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get it. If he doesn't, he's looking at year 2, definitely him getting in. And that's where I'm going to keep it. I think right now you're looking at Ortiz being my only choice to get in this year, which is a shame that there's only one player. So there you have it. Tuesday, I'll be back on to share my thoughts on who gets in or who doesn't get in. Tuesday, January 25th, MLB starts the coverage at 4 p.m. Eastern time, and they'll make the announcement at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So stay tuned for 2 days. That's a big day for me. I love the election day. We'll see who gets in on Tuesday. Till then, stay tuned. Have fun with it, and I'll talk to you in a couple days.